TSA urges people to stop trying to use their Costco card as a sufficient real identification. A Japanese city pays people to stand on escalators for 6 hours, and a group protests over goldfish races. These are the weird stories on Weird AF News, your only source for daily weird news content. I'm the host, Jonesy, and I'm glad you're joining me for these 3 weird stories from around the world. Let's go. The TSA urges citizens to please stop using your Costco card as your sufficient real ID. The TSA is expressing some frustrations with travelers recently who are not providing a proper real ID to fly. Some of you that do not live in the Estados Unidos probably aren't familiar with what this real ID is. Well, they decided fairly recently that they're not going to accept your license, your traditional license, as a real ID. There's a special license that you have to get. And as a result, the DMV's backed up, orders for the ID are backed up, and people are just having a hard time getting them quickly. And so, you might have some air travel planned, and maybe you didn't get your real ID in time because of the backup. So people are trying to use other IDs to get on planes. And so I guess the Costco is the way to go. But I mean, why not accept Costco, all right? It's got a gold star on it. Isn't that enough? They don't just let anybody carry a Costco card, okay? You got to pay to play, mister. The TSA, out of their frustration, made a Facebook post last week making it known that a Costco membership is not an acceptable identification. Some of you are probably wondering, why is the TSA saying this on Facebook? Because the TSA is a very low-level organization at the end of the day, so it's only natural they would use Facebook to make this announcement. Are young people on Facebook? No, but they don't seem to care. Their post on Facebook was a little tongue-in-cheek funny, though. I'll read it. It says, "We love hot dogs and rotisserie chickens as much as the next person, but please stop telling people their Costco card counts as a real ID because it absolutely does not. It'll get you extra frisked, though." The article says, as of May 7th, adults catching a flight in the U.S. were required to present either a passport or an upgraded identification card that meets federal real ID standards. So no longer just your driver's license, which is what we would always use for years and years, for decades, more than likely. Although there was a time in the past where you didn't even have to show an ID to get on planes. Do you remember these days? I really wasn't alive for that, I don't think. I mean, I certainly wasn't flying back then. But this was back in the day when you could smoke cigarettes and just bring a gun on the plane or your drugs or whatever. This is why they don't know who D.B. Cooper is, because he didn't have to show an ID to get on the plane. So they just got this lame drawing from some witnesses. Are you familiar with D.B. Cooper? I know I'm going off the rails here, but D.B. Cooper just Google D.B. Cooper. Very good, awesome documentaries about that man. The article says the real ID is a driver's license or other state-issued ID that meets security requirements mandated in a 2005 law passed in the aftermath of the September 11th terrorist attacks. That just sums up state-of-the-art, swift-moving economical government that we have. The terrorist attacks was 2001. They didn't pass the law till 2005, 14 years later. They passed the law in 2005, and now it's 2025, so 20 years later did it actually go into effect. I mean, what are we doing? So stupid. Now, I don't have one of those real IDs because I'm a passport holder, so I'm not even going to bother to get one until my license is renewed. But apparently they have a white star and a yellow circle, so that means you're no danger if you got a white star and a yellow circle. I mean, you still could be a danger, but you'll be allowed through TSA if you got the white star, yellow circle, little image on your ID. Good to know. So don't even try and use that Costco card. I brought it to the airport. I couldn't even get a $1.50 hot dog over there. I was very confused. I thought I might get some, I don't know, free samples with my Costco card at the airport, because who can afford to eat over there? Actually, I don't even have a Costco card. I admit it. I don't. I'm not a member. I feel like a lesser human being because of it. It's just something I'm dealing with. I have heard of the Costco ID because it has a photo on it. Seems pretty legit. I've heard personal anecdotes from friends that they've gotten into places using just the Costco when they forgot their actual license. A friend of mine used it to get into an event, and another friend of mine used it to get into a vegan strip club. All right, the second one I made up, but sometimes I just go for the laughs on here. Who cares about reality? Mr. Lebowski, is this your only ID? I know my rights, man. Just thought I'd throw a piece of a movie that I love in there as well. Just trying to move the story along, guys. So get your real ID in order. You can't use that Costco card. And here's another tip: you can't use a Blockbuster video card as well to get on a plane. I tried that. That's also a lie. Like I said, I got like some upper level legit documents that prove that I'm a person. I did get in trouble at an airport once for bringing a banana into the country from Japan, and they made a big spectacle of it. I had to go in a separate line, and they weren't pleased. They took the banana out of my bag and held it up like it was a bomb. So everybody was staring at me. So you're not allowed to bring bananas into the country from other places, I guess. That was the banana. They gave me a couple of bananas, and I ate one of them, and I didn't tell them that I also had a banana in my belly. That's legal, though, I believe, which is weird when you think about it, because what they're trying to do is prevent foreign agricultural products to come in for many reasons. But if you have one in your belly, you can also poop out the seed to that organic material. And now here we are. The organic material has made it into the country via the colon. No one seems to think about that, right? Just me? All right. I'm just a step ahead of these people, it would seem. And that makes sense when you meet them. A city in Japan is paying people to stand on escalators for 6 hours a day. This is a strange side hustle, it would seem. Nagoya, a city in Japan, is paying people to stand still on escalators for 6 hours per day. The initiative is aimed at encouraging riders to remain stationary while going up or down, in line with new national etiquette standards. Traditionally, it says, Japanese commuters followed an unspoken rule. In Tokyo and eastern Japan, people stood on the left side of the escalator and then walked on the right side of the escalator. In Osaka and western Japan, the sides are reversed. The principle was the same, though. Leave one side open for people that wanted to walk on the escalator. And that makes sense. That's what I'm accustomed to. Living in New York City for as long as I did, that was the norm. It was the right side. Stand on the right, and you walk up the left, typically. And that's just because the escalator is too damn slow. You can't just stand there wait forever. Sometimes you're in a hurry. You want to get up and out. In recent years, it says, cities in Japan have grown concerned that walking on escalators poses safety risks. Some local governments are now asking people to stand still on both sides of the escalator. Well, come on, make them faster and you won't have to stand still. I don't understand how this is not safe at all. Let's keep reading and find out why they deem it to be a safety risk. Nagoya has passed a city ordinance supporting this. Because walking on an escalator is seen as no different from using stairs, though, not everyone agrees that it's dangerous. As a result, some people still walk on the side when it's clear. To address this, the city of Nagoya created this new team called the Stand and Stop Corps. This team's job is simply to stand still. Each team consists of 3 people per location. They position themselves on the right side of the escalator wearing shirts that read, Nagoya ni stop shite ne, which in English reads, please stop calmly. All right, that's not very helpful. Please stop calmly. How do you stop calmly? By blocking the walking side, this team, enforce the rule indirectly. Okay, so they're standing on one side. Does that mean the other side is completely free? Because I need to see this in action, I think, to fully understand it. It says this team works 6-hour shifts riding the escalators. Oh, they stand on that side. Just stand still. And if you tried to walk past them, they're just there. So I guess people are standing on one side, and then the team member stands alone on the other side so that you can't run up past them. I think. This is just me trying to piece it together. Despite just standing still, the team leader earns 16,000 yen per day, which is much higher than typical part-time jobs in restaurants or shops. How nice. Seems like an easy job. Make 16,000 yen a day for just standing and drinking your coffee. That comes to about 110 USD, by the way, if you're keeping score at home. The stand and stop teams are deployed 4 to 5 times a month at 19 train stations around Nagoya. This initiative has been in place For a few months, according to the city, more people now stand on both sides and fewer are walking on the escalators. I need more information, though. Why do they deem it unsafe to be walking on the escalators? Is it because you're going to bump into people's elbows? Yeah, it is an elbow grazing activity. And some people, well, maybe not in Japan, but in the U.S., some people are quite large. So they take up most of the escalator. And in those cases, you can't really pass by comfortably and safely. I found another article that says the ordinance was introduced after 125 people sustained injuries in accidents on escalators in the previous year. Doesn't say how they were injured. I guess, well, you could be injured running up an escalator, that's for sure. Especially if you just got your face in your phone, which a lot of people are commuting this way. A lot of people are just going through life that way, to be honest. They just got their face in their phone, getting hit by cars. And they're bold, too. They're bold and silly and foolish. They'll walk across a street with their face in their phone. I don't know. So maybe that's what's happening. Also, maybe colliding with people that are standing on the escalator, I assume, is causing some of these injuries. It says here Nagoya also wanted to get this ordinance online leading up to the 2026 Asian Games, which is taking place in Nagoya. It's running from September 19th to October 4th in 2026. The Asian Games, I don't know what that is. Okay, another search. What are the Asian Games and how much are tickets? Get ready for an exhilarating celebration of the Asian Games. Athleticism, culture. This is taking place in Nagoya in 2026. The heart of Japan will pulsate with the energy of competitors from across the continent, showcasing their prowess in a myriad of sports. From the precision of martial arts to the speed of track and field, the Asian Games promises to be a spectacular display of talent and sportsmanship. Fabulous. Jonesy wants to go to Asian Games, want to participate in Asian Games. See if they got wiffle ball and or softball. Those are pretty much the only events I can kind of participate in at a above average level these days. Oh, I could have probably maybe won that do nothing contest that I covered a few weeks ago. What was it? The lazy contest? The Space Out competition is what it's called, where participants compete by doing absolutely nothing for 90 minutes. I could definitely place in that one.
Some things are simple. Putting $1,500 per year back in families' pockets, good. Hitting hardworking Americans with a $4.5 trillion tax hike, not good. Unleashing affordable American energy, good. Wasting money on Green New Deal scams, not good. Securing our borders, good. A broken immigration system, not good. America needs lower taxes, more energy, and stronger borders. Congress, the time to act is now. Learn more at protectprosperity.com. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
A protest over goldfish races in San Diego. Protests were happening recently in Pacific Beach, where advocates opposed a bar's decade-old tradition of hosting what are called goldfish races. I've never heard of goldfish races. I've heard of a bar having vibrator races. I've covered that on the Weird AF News podcast in the past, and that sounds like a good time. Here's a quote from the founder of Bold Activists for Animal Liberation. Sounds like a very powerful organization. I'm sure they have a huge budget. Here's a quote from them regarding the goldfish that were racing. It's tormenting them. It's torture for these fish. Is it torture? Let's keep reading and find out if these goldfish are being tortured. The group has been protesting goldfish races hosted at the PB Shore Club. We have here someone named Alex who participates in this goldfish race, is a regular at the bar, who says, when the races begin, they just pour the fishes into the thing and the races happen. We blow the fish with a straw. It's an $80 bar tab if you win. Okay, so they're blowing the fish with a straw. Apparently that's cruel. I'm not sure about that. I mean, certainly if you tried to suck up the fish with a straw, it would be cruel, but I'm not sure blowing on them is so cruel. Let's keep reading. I don't know nothing about goldfish biology, but maybe they don't like bubbles. Now, that animal rights group person says the goldfish races are inhumane and other games should be played in their place. Yeah, I have a suggestion. The dildo races, they're wonderful. There's a bar in Marina Del Rey that I used to go to. I don't know if they still do this, but they used to have turtle races. Very popular event, and you can even bring your own turtle. It didn't seem inhumane at all, although I'm not sure. I don't know how to get into the mind of a turtle. Maybe they don't enjoy people screaming. This person reiterates, this bar could host some arm wrestling events or something else that doesn't torture these sentient beings. Oh boy. The fact that you refer to them as sentient beings just lets me know the kind of person you are, and just on principle, I don't want to agree with you. But I'm going to try and keep an open mind here. He says he reached out to the bar and didn't get a response. He began protesting. So it's just probably one weirdo with obviously way too much time on his hands, given what's going on in Southern California right now. I think there's other causes you could get involved with that have a more impactful, positive event in our communities. Now, this protester claims he's gotten some real serious traction on social media, but come on, it's social media. I can get some traction on social media if I take a sexy picture of my foot if it's in the right light. He says he's gotten the attention of PETA, whose Instagram post has gotten even more likes than his. Okay, so PETA's jumping on board. The PETA director, PETA is doing amazing things with their giant budget. We need them in the world, after all. Ashley works for PETA, of course. They can only hire people with names like Ashley. She says, quote, there's no excuse to do something like this in the 21st century. These fish aren't racing at all. They're panicking. They're gasping for air. They're slamming against the walls in a desperate attempt to escape. Meanwhile, Eddie participates in the goldfish race all the time, claims the fish are well taken care of. Here's a quote from Eddie. The fish here last for weeks. They keep them in a goldfish tank and are fed every week, every day, in a little miniature aquarium that they have at the bar. They also interviewed a hermit crab named Gary who says, hey, those goldfish, they're my pals, they're my friends. I hang out with them all the time. We get coffee, and they say they don't mind racing. It's not such a big deal. They actually like it. They like to be the center of attention for, a couple days a month. They think it's pretty cool. And actually they enjoy racing. They, they do side bets amongst themselves. And so it's a pretty, being a goldfish is kind of a boring life. So they're into this, And that was an interview that I made up, obviously. The protest group says they plan to keep demonstrating. Oh, no, it's a group now. It's not just a guy. PETA's arrived on the scene, apparently. They're going to demonstrate until the goldfish races stop. Again, big picture here. There's other things happening in Southern California right now. Concerning things. In fact, some of my listeners have reached out to me to make sure that I'm safe. But I guess then again, there's goldfish that are being harmed in some way. Their feelings are being hurt. By the way, don't goldfish have 5-second memories? They're not even going to remember what just happened 5 seconds after it's over. The goldfish have dementia. They are the dementia sea creatures of the ocean. Of the ocean. I'm so stupid. Well, just as another aside, please permit me to have one more here. This story kind of reminded me of when I worked as a waiter in a seafood restaurant one summer. We had these lobsters in it was a tank, but it was a game. It had a claw. Those claws that you could reach down and grab gifts? Well, we had lobsters in there, and you could put in $1 or whatever, and if you could grab a lobster, it would drop the lobster in the slot, and you would win that lobster. We would cook it for you right there for free if you won the lobster. And we had a woman reach out to the restaurant, the corporation, and demand that the lobsters be freed from the tank because, as she described it, they're obviously scared of the claw. So the lobsters, she actually said the lobsters have PTSD more than likely from this claw just poking at them and grabbing at them for days and days. Again, someone who doesn't see the bigger picture here, and that's the problem with a lot of these organizations. They just don't see the bigger picture in that eventually, no matter what their experience is leading up to it, the lobster is going to get in my belly.
The spirit of innovation is deeply ingrained in America, and Google is helping Americans innovate in ways both big and small. The Air Force Research Laboratory is partnering with Google Cloud using AI to accelerate defense research for air, space, and cyberspace forces. This is a new era of American innovation. Find out more at g.co/American innovation.
Gotta get into you. Hi. How are you? Did I get into you today? Did I get into your brain? Did you learn something about the weird world that we're living in? Maybe did you have a few chuckles? Maybe did you? Let's give thanks and praise to Bella from Minnesota, longtime listener, longtime supporter of the show. We've had some wonderful conversations on the gram, and I just wanted to give her a shout out here because she's just great. She bought me coffees off my website, weirdafnews.com. That's where you can go and help keep Jonesy caffeinated, keeping me singing, doing bad impressions, and frequently oversharing, telling stories I should just keep to myself. Bella wrote me a nice message when she bought me coffee because you can do that. It's a nice little option they have here. She wrote, I keep spreading the word about your awesomeness and the podcast, Jonesy. I realized I have no idea if any of people I have raved to indeed are now listeners of your show. If they are as awesome as I think they are, they wouldn't be able to resist your charm and your uplifting spirit. Much love from Minnesota. Love, Bella. Wow, she thinks I have an uplifting spirit. Isn't that nice? All right, cool. I didn't know I had an uplifting spirit. Well, that's pretty dope. You know what we need right now in the world? Uplifting spirits. So I'm doing my part. This is how I'm going to get into heaven, guys. With my uplifting spirit as I do stories about Florida men stealing flip-flops to have sex with in their garage. I'm just doing God's work, as they say. Now, if you would like to be like Bella, the wonderful Bella, and support the show, please go to weirdafnews.com and you can buy me coffees or join the Patreon. The Patreon's where it's at, too. It's like buying me coffee every month on a subscription basis, but you also get extra Weird AF content that I make and I put in there every week. Stuff goes in there. There's over 1,000 posts in my Weird AF News Patreon, and you get access to all of that. Bonus episodes. I put songs in there that you can download, clips of my stand-up comedy, personal stories, photos, videos of me on my travels, all that in the Patreon. You can also go to patreon.com/weirdafnews for that. If you would like to email me stories that you think are appropriate for Weird AF News, please make sure they're weird and that they're recent. My email is funnyjones@gmail.com, and I'm on Instagram @funnyjones, and so you can slide into my DMs. I have a show tomorrow, Tuesday, down in a place called Menifee, California. It's down near Temecula. So if you happen to be in that area, please visit my Instagram @funnyjones. All the information is there. A link to get tickets, etc., etc. Okay, I'm going to let you go. Love you. Good luck with your life, man.